So I'm starting the stream. And now because I have the timer up on my thing, it will be easier to find what you're looking for because you can see exactly what the time key and all that. Um, so we will be looking at this. I'd say I hope this is a 5-minute lesson that's streaming. So we just go down to teacher. So we're looking at the code right now. Oh, did I? I don't think I pasted in the chat. The poll that I just put up, I will talk about that at the end of the stream. Oops. Or at the end of, like, once the stream is over, just so you have a little bit of time to do the poll. And right now, free time tomorrow is winning. And I definitely think you could use that. Link to the stream is in the chat. And so what I'd like to do first, before I do anything, is just show what we've done. So we've got this up and going. Now, part of your grade is to get to separate all of the answers. And I just separated by sentences, and it's going to be generally correct. I might have one little piece off by a little bit. I'm not going to be that crazy about it, but just, break up your samples into the different things. Now, this one, they only had one sentence here, so I actually left this alone. I didn't split it. I didn't split things up necessarily. Because it was not enough. These are samples from last year, and this was different than last year, so the samples may not fit 100%. But that's what this looks like. I can hit next sample. I can see the things going. I can see a bad answer gets marked as red. I may not be done with this one. This one should get broken up. I haven't broken that one up yet, but I will before I'm done. When I click on rubric shows the grading rubric, and it's split up by how you got a point, how you wouldn't get a point. This one, how you would get a point, how you wouldn't get a point, how you get a point, how you wouldn't get a point, because that one's worth 2. And so I just broke it up that way. And I put those new line symbols in to make it so it looks nice. You'll see that in the code. So we have all that going. And if you hit next sample, the rubric itself doesn't change. Previous sample, the rubric doesn't change. Just the color. And the color changes whether if the person got it right or wrong. And then student work, I did one person's student work. Oh, and so I did do that with you guys. That was the thing I was going to show you today. So I did one student's work, and now I have to go and do the rest of the... student grade. I didn't do the student grade, I don't think. Let me see. Yeah, I haven't done the student grade. I'm going to do one student grade assignment with you guys live, and then that will be it. So the HTML, I'm just going to scroll through it right now, and this is because it's streaming, so you can go, and if you're looking for something, you can go back and look at the stream. This goes to line 42. And I'm just kind of pausing at the top of each section of stuff. Going about 20 lines at a time. And remember, do not type this stuff out. This was all copied and pasted from other things, mostly from College Board. But we are at the end of my instruction part for this. The CSS, your CSS should look different than my CSS, but if you want to copy off of mine, you can. And then the last page of CSS, please don't type it. Copy it from Mark Heath. You can see the credit there. It's a great page, and I just took his CSS to make my radio buttons. If you take out the radio button code altogether, it still looks fine. You don't even need it. The CSS, remember, is more of an optional piece. And then the JavaScript. Now, in the JavaScript, I'm just going to show sample A. And I grabbed this all from College Board and copy and pasted it in. Grade A, I haven't done yet. I'm going to do that in class on the stream. And then this person got all of the points. And so that's that piece. I'm not going to expand all those because that's just a lot of The rubric straight off of College Board. And then these are the, this is the actual code, not the information. And there's actually, it's not very code heavy, it's content heavy, because there's a lot of content that's going into these. And that's all the code. There's no code changes today. All I'm going to do is I'm going to do one, why the student got their points. I'm going to do student A. So, and then that will be class. And then I do see some off topic but fun conversations that are happening in the chat. I will definitely respond to those after we get our business done. So we have our sample example. So we have our sample A, but we don't have how they got their grade. So we're going to do that one right now. It should take maybe 5 minutes, and then the rest of the class is yours. So AP, CSP. And then there's also one other thing that I'm going to talk about that's super important at the end of this. That I think you'll want to hear. And it's actually, it's less stress, not more stress type thing. So this is for question 1. Now, all I'm going to do, I'm going to put all of this in the first box of question 1. There's no need to split this up. So I'm going to come back here. I'm actually going to put them next to each other. I'm going to come back here, and why they got their points, boom. I just put the whole thing in there, and I'm not going to split it up. I'm happy with that. And then I'm just going to make this blank for the rest of it. And that's acceptable because they're just giving bullet points, and those bullet points don't match up with the actual sub questions. The next piece, now there are row 2 and 3 are for question 2. So for question 2, this is why this is not as time consuming. I'm just going to put the first bullet in the first section, and then the second one in this, and it doesn't go into the next page, which is good. The second one in the next question. And then everything else will be blank for the second part. The third part also has 2 points. Oh, and you know what? I do want to put, and I didn't do this. I do like the row 4 1 point. So I'm going to actually come up here. I should have done that. This was row 3. This was for row 2. I think that will be beneficial. That's for row 1. If you don't have that part in, it's not the end of the world, but I do think it's better to have the row part as well, just so you know what you're looking at in the rubric. And then question 5 is in the same section as question 4, or so row 5, and then row 6 is by itself. And these do not need to be broken up. And row 6 is for D. So I'm just blanking these out, putting that there, and then making these blanks. And then I'm going to have to go back and get rid of the spaces and putting the /ns. So I'm going to put in all the /ns, and I'm doing this as efficiently as I can. You've seen us go through this process before. And I'm just putting /ns before every bullet. I could probably do that with a find and replace, but I'd be afraid that I'd be messing up code somewhere else in this file. And so I'm just finding those bullets, which are pretty easy to see. And at this point, I could use that strip the return characters. Right now, I don't think it's that much of a pain to do it by hand because these aren't that super long. But if you don't like the idea of doing it by hand, and these the curly quotes are different than the straight quotes. The straight quotes mean something in JavaScript. The curly quotes don't, so those curly quotes are actually okay. and they should look okay on the web page. If they don't, we're not going to worry about it today. There are ways to fix that. You can ask about that. It's not a huge, in this class, I don't think it matters that much because we're not going to be exposed to it that much. Oh, I'll put a link to the PDF in a second. Let me just finish this for the stream, and then I'll handle all the questions. And I will be doing all of these through the day. I will have a finished product as well with you guys. So you can see that even though I'm asking you to process a lot of data, yeah, I'm willing to do what I'm asking you to do as well. It is a little mind-numbing. Sometimes it's actually a little therapeutic. Like you can be like, hey, I can just be doing this and watching YouTube and maybe listen to other people's music, making fun of the junk that they listen to and knowing that the stuff you listen to is way better. Because that's how we feel about music, or that's how I feel about music always. Music is a very emotional medium, so I know I always have a pretty strong opinion on the stuff that I listen to. If you go to my slide on the music, you'll realize it's all quality. And some of you might think I'm joking. I'm not. I guess there is a joke band. I mean, like Lonely Island is hilarious. I don't know if they're musicians. They're comedians. So, and they are definitely not school appropriate. They are Saturday Night Live people, so that like they're but I wouldn't play any Lonely Island or almost no Lonely Island in school. If you go to their playlists, their playlist alone on YouTube is hilarious, but not appropriate. Okay, so I just finished it. It took probably 5 minutes, and it will take about 5 minutes for each of them. So now when I go here and I go to next sample, I'm on student A. When I look at their grade, it tells me why they got their points. And that's the last big thing that we're doing. I'm going to kill the stream at this point because there's no reason to keep the stream going. That should be a pretty helpful stream for you to be able to go through if you're